Hello, guys, and welcome to our new Modern Chess webinar. Today, our guest is Grandmaster and former world champion Ruslan Ponomariov. He will explain you about the French structure and mainly the structure which arrived after the third move knight c3 followed by knight f6 black, and he will show some of his games. The structure of the webinar will be, as always, the lecture will be about 1 hour, and then you will have 15 minutes to ask your questions. You can ask your questions in the Q&A session, and after the lecture, they will be answered by Grandmaster Ruslan Ponomariov. Now I will leave you with him. I hope that you will enjoy it and you will learn a lot of things.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I can see lots of people. Hola desde Madrid. Good evening from India, from Switzerland, from Scotland. Well, everyone is welcome. Italy, Belgium, nice. Goodbye from Texas, Australia. Wow,
Australia.
Philippines.
Okay,
guys.
I'm leaving you with.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we have in general plans. Time is limited. The structure is 1 hour and something like 15-20 minutes you can ask questions. So let's more focus on French defense. Don't please ask me some personal questions for this. Maybe some other occasions we can take. Okay, so I will talk about French defense from my own experience. I wanted to say, like, disclaimer that it's my own opinion. Someone can maybe think differently, but so far I'm already playing chess more than 20 years. So I wanted to share my experience, and you can copy me, you can modify, etc., etc. In general, I already so many months passed, and September 2019, I can see the database was published, 10 chapters. In the beginning, I was thinking to make like one database, but then the work became bigger, and so it's in the end it was divided. As you can see, this knight c3, knight f6 main line, and soon I already I will scroll like quickly. You can also go to, I will give the link, guys, to the database. And soon, already like some just technical moments, second part with knight c3, bishop b4, where, for example, Jan Nepomniachtchi played in candidates, tournaments, some games, modern. I already like covered, so you will see. This is like database, short, just summary. Today we are not going to check the whole database. There is some test you can also practice in that. Will be the main line versus bishop b4. In second part, of course, it will be covered. People will ask me when it's going to be second part. It's going to be. But today, more about first database, first part. Here I can show like the list. Yeah, I have in chess base. Please let me know if you can see everything, the sound, etc., etc. This is like database. So how I worked on this database, I wanted like to talk in general. Maybe it would be useful for you guys. Maybe you can adapt yourself how on work on preparing opening repertoire in general, for example. Well, first, of course, it's helped me that I had lots of experience. As you can see, first my French game here I played in 1995, and then like, yeah, still like played some French. This is only my games with white. In database, sometimes I also played with black, so I knew less frequently, but with black I also played, so I knew how it's also sometimes to suffer, what kind of tricks it's possible to adapt. I also usually recommend, for me at least, it's helpful to read some books, because there is lots of like material. I don't know, like an example, it's not like any kind of publicity. New Chess didn't pay me. Just there is some different books regarding French defense. But normally what I like to choose, it's kind of like, let's say, book from some good author whom I know from, like Grandmaster. And so far I see there is no like really so many new like books. I mean, I checked this is, I don't have all these books, so I will not say about contact, but for example, David Miedem, I said he just some amateur player from Netherlands. I mean, he did a great job, but also sometimes want my personal choice. Like I like when people, person is also playing this, so he knows he's also like risking something, not just like I recommend it, then you like suffering or something. I don't know. There is like, I see Yannick Pelletier did some kind of DVD. Well, it's a little bit different. I like sometimes books. And then for my database, I don't know. There was some old book that I had by Parimarjan Nehi. He was a member of Indian team. So this kind of quality books I like. But the problem, it's a little bit old, let's say. So I still needed like to revise some lines and some kind of give new recommendation. But anyway, it's very useful, this kind of books. Okay. Yeah, I would also say about my database, definitely about openings. There is like lots of information, lots of like new games. So it definitely requires updated, but don't take it like a recipe for your whole like life. I just play this, copy, move. It's not like this, at least not I was working. I remember, for example, when I had some training session with Magnus Carlsen, something like 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Usually we analyze and we kind of like it to have some position, and he was asking, so what my options here? He actually didn't like when there is only like one line, like you play only this, and no, he said, okay, maybe I play this one game, but what will happen next game? So he also wanted like to think a little bit himself, all this information that he collected. And also in modern now chess, yeah, you sometimes you play one game and so your opponents prepare. But I think it's very important, first of all, at least to understand ideas, what to play, what like basic like plans, at least when it's something new that you don't expect, at least you know more or less what's your plans in your like position, because sometimes it's happened, you check with computer some lines with sanctions, and then suddenly game come, you play, and maybe your opponent make some dubious move, not recommended by engine, maybe third or fourth bar strength, but you're kind of what to do. You're also not very familiar, so try maybe to work in this case as well. Okay, I recommend that in general there is some kind of structure with knight c3 third move, but as you can see, for example here, yeah, small. I actually from 1995 till already 2000 I played knight d2, so I also had some experience with knight d2. There was some influence by, I think, maybe Anatoly Karpov games. In general, I was like solid positional player. I didn't like to have weaknesses. But then I realized that 92, I started to have some kind of problems. Let's say positions became too simple for me. Maybe I can show already. I was talking some concrete, like more examples. For example, this game from versus Yuri Krupa, maybe it's even not like published. Yuri Krupa was actually later, we worked some years together. He's kind of good expert in French. He taught me some tricks in French. I played some lines. So I don't know. The main problem was for me c5. You can take, of course, here, but I played knight f3, c takes d4, e takes d4. And yeah, in the beginning, I like it that position is kind of for the beginner very simple, right? You quickly finish your development and very simple to play, but also versus some experienced player, it's not so easy like to achieve something similar. Nowadays, okay, queen d7, I start to play myself. It's more modern move. I will not go for details. This, for example, game was, yeah, this solid position. Black, as you can see, don't have any kind of troubles, don't have any kind of weaknesses, and we need to play kind of energetic to create something. Otherwise, black just finish development here. I tried different ideas. I tried some bishop d3, rare move, and the main ideas, usually main theory, something like bishop b3, bishop d6, knight f5. It was 1999, so there was still no super fast like computers, but nowadays you can check it. And this kind of forced lines sometimes I don't like so much. Like if your opponent knows there is basically later what you will play, you just, maybe it's like kind of you checking memory of your opponent. In this game I prepared, I thought kind of tricky idea, b3, bishop c5, knight f5, but actually it was curious. I checked, it was like 1999, but even now I checked with modern computers. Yuri Krupa played kind of very precise move in all this kind of attacks that kind of dangerous, in fact, didn't really work. In the end, I had some kind of, I even collapsed in this complication myself. I need to play more like precisely. Rook g4, as you can see. Was some kind of good move. In the end, I just end up with queen, but he had these three pieces, which is more than queen. And okay, you don't need to play so risky, you don't need to sacrifice, but I was basically struggling to have this kind of advantage with knight d2. That's why I recommend more like knight c3. As you can see, my games, and everyone, like you could go mega database, everyone can say, oh, but you sometimes play knight d2. Yeah, I play occasionally knight d2 sometimes, like in 2012, but I switch it more still to knight c3. Why I play knight d2 sometimes? Well, maybe I just feel I don't want to have some kind of complicated game. I want to play something like solid. Maybe I don't mind this day. If it's draw, just try to press a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit like psychological, let's say. But in general, knight c3, I like think the most like aggressive. And actually, when I started to learn knight c3 when I actually prepared for the match versus Viktor Korchnoi, in 2001, like Gennady Kuzmin started to teach me. He's told me like, you need to play like more like aggressive. And well, in the beginning, at that moment, I still like played bishop g5, for example. It was kind of similar to this open positions that so it was kind of very, let's say, soft switch. I still needed to learn some kind of other type of position, but it was kind of similar. But once again, for example, this position, yeah, bishop b4, of course, some crazy lines could be, so I did like to learn. And also bishop b4, for example, e5, c5. Now that's kind of problem that I needed to learn double pawns, but don't worry about double pawns, etc. So I played bishop g5 and started actually my results started to improve versus like strong players. Also, when I study some kind of databases, well, I usually help me some kind of statistic in, if you use some basic like mega database, for example, there is like options reference. Just a second, what's happened? Yeah, I need to fix it. Sorry. Yeah, reference database. Also, if you don't have reference database, there is like options online database you can see. This is how I worked with chess base, my way. And now it's a little bit slowly. And in general, knight c3, I think is more like popular move among like strong players, at least recently started knight c3 as well. Like knight d2, that's kind of, let's say, like fashion, which also helps you. Try to learn from the good players in general. My like suggestion. If you want to create some kind of long based repertoire. So going to database. Just a second. So basically I tried to cover even some kind of rare lines. It's not like really the book, so I didn't really cover like absolutely every move. Guys, it's, I think, kind of complicated, and it's different database and the book. And also I thought something what, in my opinion, the most critical, the most probable will happen. Usually before the game, you don't want like to put lots of information in your mind. This is, for example, one of the chapters that I did. Yeah, knight f6, bishop b4, the main moves. Unfortunately, we can't avoid, let's say, simple this kind of simplification. Like sometimes you want to have this kind of structure. I'm not so big fan of e5. Maybe someone likes like Evgeny Sveshnikov, e5. First of all, not so many like strong players played. Maybe Grishuk, the one who played the most. And I also thought it's kind of, for example, knight c3, knight f6, e5, knight f d7. I prefer to have this kind of position with knight on d7 is kind of bad, usually than e5 when it's actually black to move. But okay, maybe for one game it also will work. This is another matter of taste. So knight c3, take. This is not possible to avoid for you. And this is in general a very solid system, I would say. But somehow, I mean, there is so many like solid openings nowadays, like Petrov, Berlin, top players played. And this is like kind of, in my opinion, slightly worse version of Petrov or this Berlin. If you want to make a draw, maybe you play even like more ultra solid. And actually, I think the most like the biggest fan of this line nowadays, it's Jörg Meyer. Yep, it's his pet line. But at the same moment, I guess you will not, if you're not playing versus Jörg Meyer, the match, I guess you will not meet it so often. But I'm still like provided some ideas here. For example, bishop d3, knight f6, c3 is still very interesting like idea. I tried to check some new modern games. Maybe I missed something, and there is actually, for example, it was in December. I don't know, maybe someone also read already the database. So far I see, for example, I saw like one player from Hungary played it in some championship. I don't know. I like compare. It's very similar to 92, but here at least my pieces are much more active. Very simple also like to play. You can practice yourself play some training games like some blitz games. Actually, and this game, white, it was surprising, but actually white already was, it was annoying like pin, h6, bishop h6. Very strong move, g takes a6, queen d2. White already had some very powerful, strong attack. This was just one idea. I suspect that maybe Jörg Meyer, like wasting lots of time, can find something, some kind of improvements. But okay, this is like always the way of this. There is some other ideas I recommended in the database. Bishop d3. Like Nagy, for example, recommended with bishop g5, but nowadays Meyer found some kind of improvement here. Well, 5 years past. I recommend this slide. In the end, it's kind of still, if black play precisely, they are fine, but you need to make some kind of lots of many precise moves, which is sometimes even like strong players don't manage to do. So it can work for you. Of course, sometimes maybe it's problematic. You still like need, once you won the game, but I hope you will have some certification if you use this idea and it worked and you score some points, etc. I saw this was similar approach. Why I don't like this so much, this line with black. Let's say, actually a little bit suffered myself versus Garry Kasparov. In 2002, we played in Linares. I wanted to surprise with him, with this French. In that moment, it was actually popular in 2002. Ivanchuk played, Anand played. And I just had some kind of bad memories about this. Like here, Kasparov found some kind of idea for one game. And then he surprised me, 95. Now, of course, you can find some ideas, 95, how to play. Meyer can show you if you want to study with black, you check the Meyer games. But usually it's not very comfortable from my experience. Like I immediately played some 97 mistake, and bishop b5 already was some kind of problems with my king. And actually, from the modern experience, I remember I played Bundesliga and I didn't really cover this move, but actually bishop f4, this kind of approaches, small ideas. Aronin played versus Meyer, and Meyer was not prepared for this, and actually he just lost very quickly, which is reminds me very similar to what happened to me with Kasparov. Personally, I don't know. I don't like to lose games in such a way, like it's happened. But I guess from the white point of view, you need like to still like find all these kind of small ideas. But this is work for the professional level. I guess if someone is playing even some open tournaments, many people don't work like so much on the open, so you can still like learn, for example, Aronin and try just to play this game. It also will help to you. So this is knight c3, d takes c4. Okay, so the main in general, knight f6, the move. So maybe I can show you some kind of structure. Yeah, knight c3, knight f6. I will not show you guys exactly what in database, some a little bit different material, if you don't mind. Well, with black, usually for me is the problem when I play French also, when I black, I think, okay, I want to complicate things, I go for something risky, so that's why I d takes c4. Well, versus Kasparov I played for a draw, but versus other players, like Svidler, for example, sometimes versus Svidler I played something more complicated, I don't know, versus Hashimov. I played bishop before, but okay. I just wanted to have more complicated structure with black when both in the such complicated. Knight f6 possible, but sometimes with black I don't like bishop g5, and this is kind of a simple structure. But with white, I kind of don't like. Okay, I had some games knight bd7 once again, some knight f3, h6, very similar to d takes c4 in general. But here I don't recommend you to play bishop g5. Somehow we have much more options. We have like bishop d3, knight f6, c3, or so. If you play here bishop g5, you kind of lose your flexibility. So e5, I played myself, and I just in general recommend knight fd7, f4, c5, knight f3, knight c6. This is a structure. Okay, basic position structure. Bishop on c8, as you can see, this is problems for black, how to activate. Sometimes this structure you can also learn actually from Sicilian defenses. It's a little bit surprising. c5, knight f3, d6, for example. Maybe, okay, this may be more precise move order, let's see. Like some kind of Scheveningen, let's say f4, castle. I play queen d2. I don't know. Once game I had g4, and actually d5, e5, knight d7. This is actually, so you can see, very similar to this kind of French. Or queen d2. I don't say that. I don't say that here black is obliged, but you can kind of learn sometimes. Sometimes white go castle, so it can be also useful for you. So bishop is h3, a6. I had more queen d2 games in the main line. For the updates, I had some extra thoughts. Okay, maybe now let me say what queen d2, b5, a3. I had one game versus Evgeny Bariev, bishop b7. In general, my feeling that white don't need like to have some kind of rush, and it's more about like neutralizing black's activity. Usually I prefer to castle here short, normally more solid, because long castle is actually could be dangerous. It's like all black pieces here. In this game, I played g3. I didn't recommend this exactly move in the database, but just to show some practical ideas. G3, queen a5 was. And here actually I found very interesting idea for some a little bit paradoxical rook a2. Actually, my idea was to keep this structure. He was stretching b4, and it's a pin now. Actually, rook e2. Why I didn't play like rook b1? Because b4 kind of can be annoying, but maybe he can even like, or he can maybe sometimes, yeah, b4 is kind of annoying, but rook e2, b4 actually take, and he can take with this pawn. He need like to take with queen b4, and my rook actually is good on this line. It's kind of surprising. Yeah, look, waste of time, but sometimes these positional ideas can work. In the game continues rook c8. You can check maybe later. Versus Evgeny Bariev, FIDE World Cup 2015. It was knockout, so it was like a real game. It was not like joy. Probably the best actually for him was to play some like queen c7. Later, that's why I didn't play it. Rook a2 actually here misplayed. But in this concrete game, it's worked for me. Rook c, bishop g2, b4. This. He kind of played primitively a little bit. And I just wanted to keep like my solid pieces, and sometimes this kind of endgames is not very pleasant. And I like this with white. And in this game, for example, I even went to some endgame. I sacrificed the pawn. It's extra pawn, but these pieces are kind of passive. And probably this is like a dream for the white player in French defense, in nightmare for the blacks. Okay, I will not go for the whole game because it's kind of long. I want still like to check your questions answered. I can see there is like 4 like questions. Let me show more like ideas about the structure. For example, in 2015, I had one game versus Bluebaum, Matthias. And this one of the line, I also recommend in database. There is actually some different move orders. Yeah, he started bishop e7, for example, knight c6. So that's why better to learn some ideas, not to get like confused. In the database, I also checked the boss idea. I also checked long castle, which is nice as well, but I also checked some positional with short castle. So at least you have like more knowledge. So he played b6. Here, for example, you can also go for some kind of a-la Dubov style, h4, alpha 0, bishop d3. It's kind of possible as well. I played bishop e2, knight c6, f5. And once again, for example, if you check evaluation, sometimes French structure, yeah, it's a little bit complicated with check with engines because position is closed. And for engines, like to understand, realize the plan, I don't know, maybe modern, like Alpha Zero Lila, but at least even like Stockfish. Sometimes don't really understand immediately. You need like to make some moves. You know? In this game, if you check, like you can, like everyone can press like spacebar and it says like black is fine, but I just remember during the game I was feeling very comfortable. I knew what I wanted to do, and it was not so clear what to do for my opponent. D-Tech C5, yeah, it's kind of okay, tactical idea. I improved my structure. B-Tech C5, knight D5, not possible. So he took knight, bishop B5, more or less like forced line, bishop B7. Take, knight D4, queen D7. And once again, this, sorry, I just pressed this bishop, this knight, and all about like sometimes to find activity with black, it's not, let's say, simple, easy. There is maybe sometimes a problem for white how to win. So you need to have some kind of patience. Don't like rush too much. Slightly try to improve position. And think like what you can do a little bit more. Don't create extra weaknesses. Here I played b4. This was like also forced like plan. He can't go knight b7 because I'm b5. So knight f4 also b5. So you need to go knight f4. This c4. And okay, computer says it's fine. Like pass pawn to bishops, but I thought for me it's much just easier to play closed position. I like it knight in closest position. I have like 3 pawns, and even if it's according to computer is fine, in the real game, practical game, we are not playing some kind of correspondence game. I think it's not very like super like pleasant to play, and like I think this is what happened in the game. My opponent, he started himself like looking for some kind of counterplay as well. He started to activate his bishops, but we can argue. We didn't play like the whole game like precisely, etc. But once again, you can find, I hope everyone see Ponomariov Blue Bomb. This is also covered in database. I hope you enjoyed. There is in database more like comments as well. I explain more like with words. I would say I also had some kind of negative experience myself. Well, it was a rapid game. It was in China, so you can also blame a little bit. I can also blame a little bit myself. Maybe I was not on perfect. For example, this was 2019. I mean, it was rapid, but okay, still, it was a game where it was some high stakes. We were fighting for some prizes, and I actually like it how Dominguez played. Once again, he didn't want like to do many kind of stuff. Like, I'm not going to like to win you immediately, not going to attack something, but just solid, because for black it's kind of problems with always I feel like this bishop. And when you start to open f6, you create some kind of weaknesses yourself. I played rook c8. Looks like very natural. He took knight d4. Once again, structure looks like Sicilian defense. Only the difference that pawn on d5, not on d6, and pawn so not in d4. I would personally prefer now to play Sicilian, but we played already d5. Nothing to do. And in the game, I kind of rushed myself. I just simply blundered. Queen c2. Here, this is what just huge mistake. But still, it's kind of not super like pleasant to play. All these kind of end games. I mean, if we exchange everything, king will come here. This pawn is going to be. If we don't exchange, he probably would play like c3, maybe b4, preventing bishop c5. And this is like blocked, no activity without knights. Maybe then he will start some kind of attack here. I don't know. For to play with black, I was feeling not the most like comfortable. Probably the biggest question is sometimes move orders, guys. It's a little bit like complicated. Like sometimes black start bishop e7. In general, I tried like to check. For white, there is sometimes also some kind of tricks. Recently, I realized that sometimes maybe queen d2 not necessary obliged. Some people start to play a3, but this is kind of modern once again. Maybe about updates, I will try to cover a little bit like deeper this kind of details, what can be different a little bit. But okay, in database, you can have more or less like ideas how you can start to play. It's not like I just give some middle game position, you can reach as well. Yeah, also something similar, once again, approaches what I had versus Van How, for example, similar idea. White sometimes have the problem, sometimes many plans. Some people play here bishop d3 as well, can be interesting move. Bishop d3, sometimes the problem may be the pawn less protected. Nagy recommended d takes c5, bishop c5, but now I think this line black more or less like prepared. Probably black is have nice counterplay. Yeah, there is similar, sometimes very also like typical plan to bring more pieces on the king side. Knight d1, very typical move actually. And in this game I played knight d1 immediately, even b4 castle. Like basically the question where king is black's going to be. Yeah, black is very active on the queen side, but my king is here. And okay, maybe you will create some weaknesses to me, but you should to be careful with your king as well. And this is what in some moment happened in the game. This is like here I'm trying to be like solid. Bishop is once again slightly passive. He tries to activate it here, but okay. I try to provoke. I want f5, g6, so bishop f3 now. Knight g4, h5. And okay, kind of weaknesses. King is still was not safe. But sometimes you don't need necessarily like to win by giving a mate. Sometimes you can go to some kind of nice endgame. So he thought maybe castle can be risky. Maybe I go g4, for example, I don't know, and some kind of mate. So he played take, went to this kind of endgame. White probably don't need like necessarily to exchange. Queen e3 was possible, but I thought once again it can be nice endgame. So this is, you should be like more flexible, I guess, adapt. And he had this weakness, and in the end I managed to convert some kind of advantage. Well, once again, in some moment he could play like some, I expect like some people will say, but here like computer say this, and he is fine. But in practical chess, my opponents, like as you can see, not like some kind of amateurs. It's different story. Practical games, it's not some position. My approach try to have some openings where I'm familiar, where I know what to do, and where I feel like comfortable. So we have like 1 hour 30 minutes, so we have rapid or blitz. I play my moves like faster, and he need like to play more like precisely. If he is doing well, okay, draw is draw. But if he make mistakes, then we have some points, etc., etc. The most probably annoying line, at least for me as well, what I wanted to say. You need to learn some kind of theory. Yeah, this is Queen b6. A little bit annoying line. I covered this line. In general, don't afraid, guys. My biggest worries here that maybe sometimes my advantage is not enough, and I personally I don't like when like when my opponent don't play immediately, when lots of theory, etc., etc. And yeah, my opponent was 2438, but first 20 moves he played like a like a world champion, like a supercomputer. In general, I covered the lines, so don't. There is no much risk. I'm thinking I saw some new ideas, like to cover, can be interesting. Maybe rook b3, queen e7, bishop a4. I saw some rare moves, but this is I didn't cover. Maybe sometimes you need like to work more like hardly, but it's really interesting. Like I saw Sasha Kiran in November 2019 already played this. So just suggestion, like to check. I guess some kind of computer helps. I played bishop d7. I don't know, my somehow my mouse is freezing. So from positional point, white is again fine. This bishop just it's a little bit crazy that all of this still like theoretical moves just move 20, but suddenly when we like started that some theory stopped, we started to make some kind of immediately mistakes. You can check more like recommendation once again in the database. Don't afraid that knight on b1. In general, white is fine. Just my main worry is that maybe advantage. You want like to refute lines, but nowadays not so, let's say, easy. So some people ask it about bishop b4 lines. Well, it's going to be second part. I already covered. There is some just technical moments, so please be like patient about this. I can show you maybe some just once again like structure. One game versus Ivanchuk. Actually, it's a little bit surprising. I checked my statistic. versus Vasily Ivanchuk, and I had 3 games versus him, and all 3 games I managed to win with white. It's a little bit like crazy. I didn't expect, but in a nice way. I don't know. Maybe for him it's just didn't really work. I can show you another. How many PGN games in the database? Well, usually I try like to make chapters. It's like 10 chapters. I know some authors like to make like separately, like small kind of. I kind of like if I think game is not very important, I don't want to show till the end. I just put inside one game inside another one. This is just for me like more like comfortable, just to see. If you want to see the game till the end, you can always like once again in the online database or reference database find it and see how it's continued. Someone interested how it's up. So yeah, bishop before going to b. Going ahead, I would say I mostly like recommend h4, what Maxim played Vashtiela Graf, and Jan не помнящий, it's like covered, but just wanted to show. This is a little bit different structure, double pawns. In the beginning, when you are like beginner, maybe I was, first of all, I didn't like feel like so good like dynamic, and then I prefer like avoid some unnecessary weaknesses. But then when I started to improve as a player, I realized that actually there is also lots of pluses for white, lots of potential in this position. Like this bishop is also very strong, as you can see, just active as well. For this game, Ivanchuk, it was in 2002. It was exactly just after our match. We played in Moscow, and just maybe 3 weeks tournament in Linares, and we actually played first round in Linares. And I know Vasily decided like he lost first game in the match in French, but he said no, I want like to say I'm still like good in French, so he played another French, and he played this f5. This. Actually, he kind of caught me a little bit by surprise. Well, in that moment, I was 18 years old, and of course, he knew much more than that. But at least I knew some kind of plans, some of ideas, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to offer. Some games of classical games. I know, for example, Mikhail Marin do lots of now videos learning for classics. I would say I learned lots of also from classics as well. Like, but Vinnik played lots of French. Keres actually was surprised, like his book, opening book, like some ideas is still like very, very interesting. Like he said, but he wrote it in, I don't know, 1950 or something. You will laugh, but it's like this. Okay, the game was this, knight c6, knight f3, queen f8, castle, c4, bishop c1. Yeah, once again, no, like you don't need like to have some kind of rush. And in French, usually you need to think what your opponents wants. Like I guess it's more sometimes, most of the times, first restrict active options for black, and when they feel like nothing to do, they will start themselves weakness, etc. If not, then you can start to make your plan. For example, here I realize that he wants g5, knight g6, maybe to bring late knight here, maybe my king actually can be in danger. So, and actually what I wanted to do, my pawns is like double it here. And actually, I would confess, knight e1, I remember people said it's a novelty, but this was rare line, guys. I just a little bit thought myself what to do, and I just found this idea over the board. Usually, of course, it's good to know everything before, but sometimes it's happened. And to know more, once again, I suggest read chess books. I hope my database can be like helpful for you, like kind of starting point to learn, because I know myself, you kind of open position and what so many games, so many information. So at least I try to explain some kind of ideas. What's this? And yeah, this is like prophylactic moves. Knight goes to g2, and actually very, very solid. And he started some maneuvers. Actually, here maybe f take g5 was more precise, if I remember, because after queen e1 he could close something like g4. But okay, this was the game. So actually I needed like to play f take g5 first. He played queen e1, b5, take, 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 take. And now slowly I started like to improve once again my position. There is some comments, sorry, there is Psachis Levon Vtachnik, I can see. I didn't really like modify, I just took it from mega database, old one. And yeah, queen g6, just show, knight g4. And then after like improving everything, you can see my pieces are perfect. King is safe. Then I started like to think, okay, what I can activate. Like, bishop did some great job here, but I found some new ideas like a4, b takes c4, bishop c1, sacrificing, and coming here. And yeah, okay, guys, so this was the game. More or less, I kind of have nice memories about this, maybe enjoyed too much. Let me maybe go to some kind of questions. Once again, even if I will show the database is here. You can like read some free preview. You can practice some test. You can, once again, you can check what I played myself. Like, for example, I go mega database. I do like search. I do Ponomariov, Ruslan. I put some kind of French. You can also check what I played. And you will see, yeah, these games, some kind of. So what's questions, answers? I prepared a little bit more games, but I see I'm talking too much. A little bit in that didn't really focus on the chat. So let me see a little bit. Maybe Grigor can help me like moderate. What is your opinion of McKitchen variation? Well, McKitchen, I guess it's like bishop g4, bishop g5, bishop b4. Well, bishop g. Once again, from theoretical point of view, maybe just show you like asking. Maybe let me just show. So McKitchen, I guess this. I just don't recommend bishop g5 because I don't like d and bishop b4. I kind of think a little bit risky for black, let's say, but some players like played it. Once again, Moskalenko, for example, wrote some ideas. Ivanchuk played some games. Yeah, you also some suggestion, just some reminds. I talk about my experience, but for example, Peter Lek also, if you check French defense, he had some nice games with white. Maybe his style kind of similar to mine. Like he was like everything like to be protected, so you can learn. I don't
Okay,
know.
Ruslan, if you
Personally,
want,
I'm not like I'm not like, I will not say theoretical point because I'm not really covered it. This I will say. So another knight c3, bishop b4, a3. My reporter, guys, from white of point of view. Someone asked bishop b4, a3. I didn't recommend a3. This move played by Smyslov and by Alyoshin, but now Fischer even played. But nowadays I think black found some counterplay. My repertoire from white point of view. I had some games actually with black. Here you can check. I recommend e5 once again. Which books do you recommend regarding French? Regarding French, actually, there is. I'm for example, I don't know. If you play like French player, maybe Moskalenko, Victor Moskalenko is nice. He explained like some ideas, and I don't know. If you only play French with black, of course you can like buy all these books and read. There is no like restrictions, but some kind of like good material, at least what I would say, I would definitely buy immediately. I don't know. Like Nehi, I like the book, but it's 2014 already.
hello, Ruslan. Sorry for interrupt you. Just to tell that we have a database from Mikhail Marin about French defense.
Ah, okay.
It's also
Yeah, so we are doing for modern chess. Let's do some also kind of. Yeah, probably you can also check. I remember for me, it was kind of complicated in aspect that, well, people asked about the book. I mean, database is probably small. It was kind of complicated. I would not say I refuted like database like French, that after reading mine you can play like French, not at all. But I'm just sharing like kind of, let's say, feelings what I had planned with black and with white. And for example, what Mikhail Marin wrote, actually tried to play. I think he recommended this system b6, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Well,
exactly. This is
I tried myself in Isle of Man tournament, so I covered in second part some kind of thoughts about it, how I would manage this white as well. But once again, guys, try to focus first on ideas, my suggestion, and then try to memorize. Like, it's important, of course, some critical lines to know how to play it, etc., etc. You can't. I know myself sometimes. Nowadays, I'm not like working so hard like as before on the opening theory. Yeah, it's kind of like struggling, but I tried like to take some good time like to check good French this.
also there was a nice question in the chat. I just sent it to you.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Should I chat question answer or
No, I sent it to you. In the
okay,
chat.
I can see. So Baxlick, the best way to play against the French tennis is a full castle, kingside, long castle in the a6 b5 line is risky. Counterplay, take precedence over a quick attack. Being solid and taking control of the d4 square, preferably with knight, will make black's life unpleasant. Well, I don't want to be, like Zigbert Tarash or Wilhelm Steinitz. I guess you need to be also flexible. Your mind should be flexible. Each situation a little bit like different, but I would say kind of yes. And doesn't mean that we don't go like long castle at all. In the database, I also, for example, here. Actually, we are going long castle, don't afraid. But yeah, maybe, for example, I had this game what I went to long castle. So doesn't mean like, but it's even once again, I tried to play here, not exactly like immediately for attack, h4, h5, h6, mainly like trying like to keep his pieces passive and like to be thinking about what black wants to do. In someone he prepared like f6 and queen f2. Nice move. I didn't invent this move. This is Vladimir Kramnik. He's very like, I don't know where he takes these ideas. Very creative player. And I learned from him and then I modified it. And yeah, here, for example, queen s3, some kind of, looks like I'm wasting like time, but actually avoiding some counterplay, f6, I was solid and black was suffering. The game finished a draw, but in some moment I could play better, etc. So this is how my approach. There is some kind of lines as well, if I'm not mistaken, with long castle. Maybe here, yeah, I recommend this. This is once again very concrete and actually some precise move order requires. Now I don't remember, guys. I need to check my own database. Maybe King B1.
There was
I remember
another.
I should not play H4. Maybe King B1. Kirill Shevchenko, one Ukrainian guy. I think maybe King B1. Once again, it's helpful. Yeah, Kirill Shevchenko after me. King B1, B5. Well, he played in 2020 by database. Take. And this is some kind of example. A little bit looks anti-positional. Why you give up to bishops, but there is some concrete ideas. Bishop attacking, knight g5, queen d3. This kind of mate. And I explain the difference. Why not to play h4? After h4, actually, this is not working. Some players played, even Caruana played h4. Well, he played some rapid. Maybe he just misplayed. So you need to know, you have some concrete knowledge and some basic ideas as well. H4 difference that here, I think in some lines, if I'm not mistaken, maybe we can go for this. And queen can come to h3 after g6, queen h3 and mate. But with h4, I'm just telling by memory, the same will not work for you. But okay.
Okay, Ruslan, there's one other interesting question.
Yes.
You can see it in Q&A session. If you focus on your on the games of particular experts, or you just cover all the players, you can find it. I think. Yes.
Well, in general, once again, like about books, about players, yeah, it's much easier for me to learn that already before some players before me played this. I mean, I'm playing like more than 20 years ago, but there is like lots of history of chess and I can't like check everything myself. And usually I sometimes even in my database, I try to limit myself maybe 2,600 player, for example, to see, because about learning the opponents, the biggest like problem, it's the time, at least for me. Like difficult to find time to check everything. And usually what I do, like if I want like briefly, I do like, for example, reference database, some kind of positions that and first I normally with white, I check, okay, what was top players like did, because top players, they are professional, they like risking themselves like with something, with prizes, with money, and some kind of another player, I don't know, I don't want like to be rude, but maybe he just wanted to have some fun, huh? But first of all, I don't have like time to check like all these games, and usually if it's not correspondence game, the quality will be a little bit like different. I would confess, like some people more modern than me, they are also checking lots of correspondence, chess, computer games, chess. And for my database, I didn't really did this kind of stuff. Well, with correspondence, why I didn't do this, for me, it's a little bit problematic. Once again, lots of correspondence games, but I don't really know who is a good player in correspondence chess, who is not good player. It's kind of confusing for me, like to choose. I don't know, maybe someone knows better. And with computer, sometimes I check this, TSEC championship, like Lila, Stockfish, Komoda playing against each other. Sometimes they just have some kind of prearranged positions, what they start to play. But as a professional, maybe I would like to check another position, not what they prearranged. A little bit sometimes artificial. And definitely there is some kind of, can be interesting ideas, but once again, it's a huge amount of information that even I can't process it somehow. So I try like a little bit simplify and at least like to see most important things.
Ruslan, now I see another interesting question, which is coming by a person who has already purchased your database.
Yes.
The question says, I have your database, but I'm a bit concerned about the forced line with bishop b4. Can you see this question in the Q&A session? Because you can bishop find b4. The line which is given.
It's the long forced line.
Yeah, this is forced lines. Yeah, I can see. Okay. King d2. The line goes king d2. Okay, maybe I can show once again approaches. So it was first chapter. Once again, let me see. Okay, first. No, this is not first chapter. It's another. Just sorry, guys. I need to see. I just remember. I understood what he asking. So what's the question? There is some kind of computer problem. So what?
Could you explain the plans and the resulting positions? Maybe it is possible just to give some general points.
Okay.
Yeah, probably just briefly because we run out of time.
Okay, let me see. Okay, queen b6. Well, this is subline, I can see. Well, at least for me. Queen b6. No, c takes, so sorry. So c takes d4, knight d4, queen b6, queen d2, rook b1, queen a3, bishop b5, knight d4, bishop d4, bishop b4. Bishop b4, rook b3. Okay. Maybe, I'm not so sure. This is maybe I don't have even even original rook b3, queen a5. I know what he is talking. It's probably the game. Yeah, I understood. Yeah, this is Wheeler-Meyer game. He was talking about this. Well, first of all, I didn't really check it super like deeply. Once again, like because it's not like my goal was not like focus on each possible move, guys. Otherwise, I will never like finish database. And I wanted to be more like practical, let's say. Once again, this is super like a rare line. Like if you just open database, as you can see, first of all, this is not so A6 by far more like people like playing, especially like top players, A6, A6, X6, like Nakamura, Grishuk, Marozevich. So bishop b4 already kind of a rare line. I understood the logic of Meyer. He wanted like to surprise his opponent, but I just saw that he wanted to surprise, and it's kind of worked for him, let's say, because you put on the, I remember I also put this position on the computer, and this was not like really some kind of refutation, like winning a piece or winning some kind of material or something. But at the same moment, I started to see, okay, my pieces, white pieces are kind of nice, and meanwhile, black like have everything on the last rank. And even what happened in the practical game, rook c3, like actually Meyer, I think he just lost very like quickly. He prepared something and he surprisingly like end up in his he lost because of his own like preparation. This kind of I don't know, some kinds of, yeah, I know, like a problem for the practical point of view. You want maybe to have sometimes like a clear answers, like how to win, but also you need to think, or you want like to equalize, but sometimes you need maybe to think, if you manage like to memorize all of these lines and how probable they will happen, and if you are planning just to play one game with this line, so it's going to be like surprise. Because as you can see, Daniil Dubov, these tournaments, he played e4, knight c6, or I don't know, e4, d5, and crushed it. But I don't know if he's like going to play like this every like game. I mean, you need like, I guess he's more like approach like sometimes like to do some this so small like surprise and short time control. It's working. So that's why I don't know. I just didn't really like it. This. That's why how among like top players it's really worked. I guess if I played, if it was like Carlsen Caruana match, I would like spend just for one disposition few days with supercomputer. You can like, you don't need like even to buy, you can rent it to check deeply and to see like more problem. But from the practical point of view, I thought it's kind of, I don't know.
Okay, Ruslan, thank you very much for
This is how my approach. Well, there is going to be update. I will think maybe I will add more lines about this. And once again, if you meet not only like this line, just to finish some kind of surprise line, I just suggest first check what like strong players like did and help. It would be like helpful. Sometimes you will have some kind of this kind of questions. Now it's a little bit going too slowly, but I guess you understood, like reference or online database. It's working. Okay, yeah, guys, time is a little bit like going.
Yeah, let's finish it. Oh, thank you very much for.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry, maybe I didn't answer all questions. We have like kind of short format. Sometimes I do some streams on Twitch. You can. There is another format. More. This is not very serious. You can come. We can chat, discuss, like chess, life, etc. Maybe meanwhile I can answer some kind of positions, and I hope you like my database soon. I guess Peter will announce second part, and yeah, I will appreciate if in some kind of way, if you like buy database, it's sounds maybe kind of like silly, but I mean, I'm also professional, spending some time, so more people buy, I will be motivated to make more database for you guys next time as well. So I hope.
Yeah, just to announce that there is a promo code which for it's like a tradition after each webinar. This time it's a webinar 3105. This it gives 30% discount on all products on chess, and also if someone buy the first database, he will have a discount on the second one as well. So there's no need to wait to publish the second one. Always when you buy the first one, you have a discount on the second database. And yeah, I hope that we all learned something new and interesting today. For me, it was very interesting. Thank you, Ruslan. And I hope that we can repeat this probably for Vinaver, for the second database.
Okay. Okay, yeah, guys. Maybe Peter, you can give link to, once again, YouTube when it's going to be published. You can leave your comments, guys. Put your likes. In general, all this kind of support, always nice.
Yeah, also
it would be like some
all
kind
of
of
you will
appreciation
receive
to have all the contacts.
An email with the Twitch channel of Ruslan. I also write it on chat. You can subscribe and learn a lot from him there. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Also, Peter,
Okay.
I want just to mention something. You can find all the previous webinars in our YouTube channel, Modern Chess. And if you want to follow our events, you can just subscribe for our channel. And I hope that even in the future, we are going to produce good content for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys. Stay healthy. Have a nice evening.
Thanks to you. Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye. All the best.
We finished recording.
Yes.
Grigor, did you stop everything?